right. So the second statement for the Believe It or Not segment this week. Letting Phil Danault walk this offseason was a massive mistake by Marc Bergevin. Now, obviously, the Habs are kind of a bit weak at center. I mean, the top two are okay, but it kind of thins out. There's Mathieu Perreault. We have Cedric Paquette that's kind of playing a bit of third-line center, and then Jake Evans as well. So, yeah, that's it. What do you guys think? I'll start with Mackie.
I do not believe it because of the contract and what it would have meant. Now, short term, yes, this hurts the Montreal Canadiens, and you'll see it in Nick Suzuki that needs to take on more responsibility. Jake Evans as well. Christian Dvorak looking good with Josh Anderson and Jonathan Drouin was having a hell of a start to the season. But I still don't believe it. Now, if you want to look at a sample size of 5 games where the Montreal Canadiens have not looked like they should, especially even on paper from there, walking into this season, we're not saying the Habs are going 0-5 and they're going to be a bottom feeder team. So I think making a judgment call at this stage is very short-sighted, and that's why I don't believe it. I think Phil Danault was a great center for us, and he's a great defensive center, but at that contract, that cap hit and the offense that he didn't bring, it would have been a mistake for the future of this team down the middle. So I don't believe it.
Alex, what do you think?
I do not believe it. Same answer as Mackie. There's not much for me to say. Mackie touched on all of it. Contract is my biggest hang-up. Obviously, I miss Phil Danault. It'd be great to have him on the team, but there's no way you can justify the money he was asking for, especially for the lack of offensive contribution. And I know the season just started, but he's kind of showing that same pace in LA right now. He has but 1 point in 5 games. And I think it would have just hampered us so much in the future to give him that money. We have to let the kids grow. Suzuki, let them learn. And Christian Dvorak, I think, is going to be able to fill in that space. He's looked solid defensively, and I think he has more offensive upside. So, yeah, I absolutely do not believe it, and I do not think it was a mistake.
I mean, I'm going to go the other way, just kind of to be devil's advocate, but also kind of because I believe it. I mean, I think if we have Phil Danault on this team, our center depth is elite in the league, and it might cost a lot. I mean, Phil Danault, obviously, he made a few bucks going down to LA, but having Christian Dvorak, Nick Suzuki, and Phil Danault as your 1-2-3 punch is something very special. So if we could have found a way for that to work with the kind of contracts, I think that would have been the ideal situation, in my opinion, because Phil Danault, to me, not only is he a very good defensive center, he does a lot of 5-on-5 play. Like he's one of the reasons that we were so good 5-on-5 in the last couple seasons. And I mean, it's a small sample size, but in the first 5 games or 6 games of the season, we have not looked good 5-on-5. I mean, we haven't looked good in much areas of the game, to be honest, but 5-on-5 is something we're struggling in. So, I mean, I think Phil Danault obviously makes us a better team. Now, was it a massive mistake? Going back to the question, I don't think it was a massive mistake, but I think that Phil Danault would have kind of pushed us above what we were last season.
What I will say, though, is that, again, coming back to, I agree. The ideal scenario, you keep all of those centers and you're set down the middle. If your fourth line center is Jake Evans, like it was, last season with a Jesperi Kotkaniemi that's no longer with the team, and it's Christian Dvorak who's a little bit more proven, totally agree. Now, do you sign Nick Suzuki for the deal that you just signed him to, which some people even think that that's an overpay at this stage because he's still hasn't proven on a consistent level that he maybe deserves that money? I disagree. I saw in the playoffs, I think that he has the foundation to be that player, but do you sign him for that deal? I think not.
Yeah,
and that adds to the
with
factor.
Shea Weber coming off the books too, though, it's kind of, well, I mean, in theory, coming off the books, that's something to play with too. And like we saw with Tampa, like you can kind of like sign players and make the money work later. If you're signing the players that will do the work for you right now, like I think that's a strategy we've seen that kind of works. Like you kind of just make the cap work to a certain extent. You want to go full Toronto on them, where you just sign everyone to 10, 12 year, $12 million contracts per year. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to be screwed, but I think we would have been a much better team having Phil Danault there.
Yeah, no, I agree. But let us know what you guys think. Once again, we've got one last statement for Believe It or Not, and we'll talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs later anyway. So let's get to it.